Can you imagine this area late at night? Perhaps with a fog blowing down the road? Well, that's what these four guys encountered in the movie The Wanderers. Right now I'm on the corner of Palmetto and Seneca in Ridgewood, Queens, and this was also the home in the movie to the gang, the Ducky Boys. Yes, that's right. We are currently in Ducky Boys territory. Now, I apologise for the clarity of the images, but that's how the film was made. It is very difficult to get clear pictures from the Ducky Boys territory because it was so dark. But this is where the scenes between the Wanderers and the Ducky Boys was filmed. In a couple of minutes we are going to take a walk down the road underneath the elevated railway, and we will end up where the character Turkey met his ending at the hand of the Ducky Boys. Before we do that though, I want to point out that this intersection is also featured heavily in the film Brighton Beach Memoirs. Virtually every street scene in Brighton Beach Memoirs is filmed within half a block of this intersection, from any one of the four directions at the intersection. The main character lived to the left of the intersection, but many scenes feature them entering the intersection from the left and then heading down one of the other directions. My main reason for being here today, though, is because I am a big fan of the movie The Wanderers. There were two scenes in the film that were shot here. Firstly, when the four Wanderers take a wrong turn and encounter the Ducky Boys for the first time, with the fight taking place on the other side of the intersection to where I am now. As soon as I pick the camera up, we will head right to the spot where the first fight with the Ducky Boys took place. After that, I will make a left so that we can get a view of the street that was mainly used in Brighton Beach Memoirs, including the entrance to the train station. And it is also worth mentioning that a third film, though perhaps lesser known, called Dreams Don't Die, also had many scenes filmed on this street. When I start to head towards where Turkey was killed, the first couple of houses under the elevated track, one on each side of the road, is where the main characters in Dreams Don't Die lived. The girl on the left and the guy on the right. There are other films and TV shows that were filmed down here, and in fact I am sure there were many more that we haven't discovered yet that were also filmed down this street. Now, one thing that I will point out is that it is often mentioned that The Warriors was also filmed down here. However, it is almost a certainty that people confuse the Wanderers and the Warriors. When the Warriors meet the Turnbull ACs, who were driving the old school bus, it certainly looked almost identical to Palmetto Street. But unfortunately it was actually shot in Brooklyn. So let's continue our walk through the filming locations for these movies, and I will be back with you at the end of the street at the location where Turkey died. It is also coincidental that one scene from the classic car chase in the movie The French Connection is no further than 20 yards away from where Turkey was killed in The Wanderers. In fact, as we walk under the elevated railway, we will be following the path that Gene Hackman's car took for a few seconds in The French Connection before it crashed into the fence. Now, up until now, I've done a voiceover, as you probably have worked out already. But for this particular part, I wanted to do it live. And just stand aside before I get knocked over. There's been no traffic down here. Now the moment I start filming, there's traffic. So in the movie The Wanderers, I wanted to work out where exactly Turkey died. Now it was somewhere around the Palmetto area, but I couldn't work out exactly where it was. Then I found this picture that was taken during the scene. And as you can see, it's got girder number 534, which you can see right here. It looks a little different there. I guess it was painted like right up here, or in fact maybe just above it. So I thought, you know what, all the girders are probably named the same anyway. So I kept looking, and I went down the street, and then I found girder number 535. So that led me to believe, hey, maybe they're in chronological order. You know, if that's 535, that's going to be 534. And then if I'm lucky, this one would be 533. Which is exactly what it is. So, the Ducky Boy was stood on girder 534. So we're up to girder 534, and that's where the Ducky Boy was stood. Stood like right here. So then I looked up, and wouldn't you know, that's where Turkey was. Turkey climbed this girder. Obviously they put a railing up there for him to climb, and then obviously you can see the overhanging railing there, and that's where the Ducky Boys were sticking their sticks and what have you out. So Turkey had climbed all the way up to the top there, and then when they prodded him with sticks. Now there is a part where they look out through a window, and I'm not too sure what that is. It's possible that it could be those windows right there. In fact, it more than likely is. Yeah, I think it would be, actually. So then all the Ducky Boys are like gathered where I'm stood. They prod Turkey with the sticks, Turkey falls, and one will be led to believe that he died right here. Now, having seen the film, I'm going to guess they actually moved the body over to this area when there is a bit more space for them to operate. But I looked for this for so long. Obviously, it looks a little different now to what it did 40 years ago, but if I stand directly under it and then include the picture, as I've probably already done by now, you can actually see that this was the area. So the last part on the Wanderers, and right now we're on Palmetto Avenue. When the Wanderers had their fight with the Ducky Boys, had their fight with the Ducky Boys, let's see which way he's turning, left, alright. That was obviously down there. After the fight, they all jump in the car and then take off. And the Ducky Boys chase them all the way down the street. Now here's the funny part. I'm almost certain that the last part that you see of the Wanderers is they're driving down here with the Ducky Boys chasing them. And the last scene you see is the Wanderers heading off down Onderdonk here. Now, because of the way they did the lighting, it's very hard to tell. I'm not going to get a good spot here, but the last you see is where this taxi is right here. That's where the Wanderers are coming down, and then the Ducky Boys are coming around the corner there, as you can see where the cars are coming. Now, what's also ironic, and this will be coming up in a future video, so that's where Turkey died right there. Just move away where the orange pylon is right there. The Wanderers drove their car down here, swung a right with the Ducky Boys in tow, and then took off down Onderdonk. But it also happens to be the area right opposite here where in the French Connection Gene Hackman's car crashed into the fence in the car chase scene. Now, I'm doing a completely different video for the French Connection, but I just figured I'd point that out on this one. So right in this area right here, you got the French Connection, then the Wanderers going where the bus is going, and of course the scene where Turkey dies. So that's the history of Brighton Beach Memoirs and the Wanderers that were filmed in the Palmetto Seneca region. There was one other film, which I forget the name of right now, but I would have included that in the intro.